Let's be completely honest right from the start. Covert narcissists are the absolute worst, most dangerous type of narcissist you will ever encounter. Unlike the loud, arrogant, textbook narcissists who command every room they walk into and demand that all eyes be on them, covert narcissists are masters of disguise. They don't brag, they don't boast, and they don't wear their ego on their sleeve. Instead, they hide in plain sight, perfectly blending into your life as the ultimate good guy. They masterfully play the role of the incredibly supportive friend who always listens, the deeply caring therapist who seems to understand your soul, the overly devoted spouse, or the humble, selfless helper who is always volunteering for the community. They don't look like monsters. They look like angels. They carefully construct a flawless, beautiful facade of empathy, kindness, and pure altruism. But make no mistake, this isn't genuine love. It is a calculated trap. They build this perfect image for the sole purpose of extracting exactly what they want from you, whether that is your money, your unyielding respect, your resources, or total emotional control over your life. The terrifying reality of the covert narcissist is the staggering duality of who they are. While the outside world sees a benevolent, gentle soul, the person behind closed doors experiences someone who is pathologically destructive. They are emotional vampires who slowly, systematically erode your confidence, your peace of mind, and your sense of self, all while smiling and pretending they are doing you a favor. They use subtle guilt trips, passive-aggressive remarks, and hidden manipulation to keep you off balance. Because they have convinced everyone else, and initially you, that they are the sweetest, most self-sacrificing person on the planet, you second-guess your own instincts. You excuse their toxic behavior, telling yourself that you must be misinterpreting things or that they are just having a bad day. You become fiercely protective of the very person who is actively destroying your mental health, completely trapped by the beautiful illusion they created. Eventually, the pressure of maintaining a lie becomes too much, and that carefully crafted mask finally shatters. When it does, the emotional impact is devastating. You aren't just hurt, you are completely blindsided. In a single moment, the person you thought you knew vanishes, replaced by a cold, calculating stranger who doesn't care about your pain at all. This sudden realization leaves you standing in a gaping hole of psychological chaos, questioning your entire reality and everything you thought was true. You look back at months or even years of your life and realize it was all a theater production. You are left with a burning, painful question that keeps you awake at night. How the hell did I let this happen to me? You feel foolish for buying into the BS, completely unaware that you didn't fail. You were simply outmaneuvered by a professional con artist of the human heart. If you have been fooled, used, or blindsided by a covert narcissist, I need you to stop right now and take a deep breath. Stop beating yourself up. Stop replaying every conversation in your head, and stop treating yourself like you are the problem. You are not stupid, you are not naive, and you are not weak. The very first thing that happens when the mask falls off a covert narcissist is that you turn all your anger inward, blaming yourself for not seeing the red flags sooner. But you need to understand that these people are professional con artists of the human heart. Deception is quite literally their survival mechanism. They do not lie and manipulate just for fun. They do it because they absolutely have to. If the world actually saw who they were underneath that fake humility, if people knew the cold, calculated calculated emptiness that drives them, they would lose everything in an instant. They would lose their friends, their family, their reputation, and their social standing. Their entire life depends on their ability to fool people, so they have spent years, if not decades, perfecting their act. You didn't lose a fair fight. You were targeted by someone who has made a lifelong career out of weaponizing kindness. It is crucial to realize that a covert narcissist didn't choose you because you were foolish. They chose you because of your strengths. They actively hunt for people who have high levels of empathy, deep compassion, and a natural desire to help others. They look for that beautiful, generous part of your soul that always wants to give people the benefit of the doubt, and they turn it against you. If you have any history of low self-esteem, childhood trauma, or codependent tendencies, they will sniff it out instantly and exploit it to the absolute maximum. They look at your willingness to overcompromise and sacrifice your own needs as an open invitation to take whatever they want. They know exactly how to trigger your guilt, how to make you feel like you were the one who isn't doing enough, and how to keep you chasing their approval. You were operating on the rules of normal human connection, honesty, and love, while they were playing a dark, psychological chess game. You cannot blame yourself for failing to see a game that you didn't even know you were playing. When you sit around dragging yourself across the coals, criticizing your own judgment, and calling yourself an idiot, you are actually doing the narcissist's job for you. They spent the entire relationship trying to make you feel small, insecure, and self-doubting. And by hating yourself right now, you are keeping their toxic legacy alive. They want you to feel broken because a broken person doesn't fight back or speak up. It is time to cut yourself some massive slack and realize that you were simply outmaneuvered by a highly skilled, pathologically driven, emotional predator. You didn't do anything wrong by believing in their goodness. They did everything wrong by faking it. Wash your hands of the guilt. Stop punishing yourself for having a good heart, and accept the truth. You aren't foolish, you aren't broken, and you aren't to blame. You were simply the target of a professional manipulator, and surviving that doesn't make you stupid. It makes you a survivor who is finally waking up to the truth. The exact moment the fog clears and you finally discover the true, twisted motives of a covert narcissist, a massive wave of righteous anger is going to hit you. Your immediate, overwhelming instinct will be to expose them, scream the truth from the rooftops, and show everyone exactly what kind of monster is hiding behind that fake, angelic smile. You will want to confront them right to their face, lay out all your evidence, and force them to admit to the horrible things they've done. I am telling you right now with absolute urgency, do not do it. Do not give in to that urge, no matter how good it might feel in your head. Never, under any circumstances, call out a covert narcissist, and absolutely never do it in front of an audience. When you find out who they really are, the smartest and safest thing you can do is keep your mouth completely shut, hold your cards close to your chest, and keep your discovery entirely to yourself until you can safely map out your next move. You have to understand the sheer psychological stakes of what you are dealing with here. A covert narcissist has built their entire life, their career, their relationships, and their self-worth on their public image. They have everything to lose, and their fear of being exposed is a primal, desperate terror. If you threaten their reputation, their job, their social standing, or the adoring public audience they've spent decades manipulating, you are not just starting a casual argument, you are threatening their very survival. The moment you hint that you see past their mask, you activate what psychologists call a narcissistic injury, which triggers a blind, vicious, narcissistic rage. They will not sit down and have a mature conversation with you. They will not break down, cry, and apologize for hurting you. Instead, they will instantly go to absolute war against you, using every underhanded, toxic, and manipulative weapon in their arsenal to completely annihilate your credibility before you can utter a single word to anyone else. When a covert narcissist goes to war to protect their image, they play incredibly dirty, and they do it with a terrifying level of sophistication. Because they are masters of playing the victim, they will instantly twist the narrative so smoothly that your head will spin. They will get ahead of the story and launch a smear campaign behind your back, telling your mutual friends, family members, or co-workers that you are the unstable one. They will use your natural emotional reactions to their abuse as proof that you are losing your mind. They will calmly and softly tell people that they are deeply worried about your mental health, subtly labeling you as irrational, hysterical, or mentally ill. They will gaslight you so intensely, drop cold threats, and intimidate you behind closed doors until you are so exhausted, isolated, and confused that you actually recoil, back down, and end up apologizing to them just to make the nightmare stop. You cannot win a public shouting match with someone who doesn't care about the truth and has zero conscience. If you try to pull their mask off in front of the world, they will use that very moment to make you look like the crazy perpetrator and themselves look like the innocent, long-suffering victim. They have a whole choir of flying monkeys, people who have drunk their Kool-Aid and completely believe their facade, ready to defend them and tear you apart. Your desire for justice and closure is completely valid, but trying to get it by confronting a covert narcissist is a trap that will only leave you deeply traumatized and twice as hurt. Save your breath, guard your energy, and accept that you will never get them to validate your reality. The best way to beat them isn't to expose them to the world, it's to silently withdraw your attention, deny them their emotional supply, and leave them to rot inside their own web of lies while you walk away with your sanity intact. Since a loud, dramatic confrontation is a trap that will only blow up in your face, you need to shift your entire strategy. Instead of looking for a cinematic showdown where you finally tell them off, you need to build a completely silent exit plan. You have to block out the emotional noise, suppress the urge to get the last word, and map out your departure with absolute military-grade precision. Whether you are dealing with a toxic friendship, ending a long-term relationship, or navigating a messy divorce, secrecy is your greatest weapon. You need to get your finances in order, secure your personal documents, arrange your living situation, and assemble your real support system entirely behind the scenes. Do not drop hints, do not make empty threats, and do not give them a single clue that your foot is already out the door. You are not running away out of weakness. You are strategically withdrawing to protect your peace. If you make the mistake of trying to rip their mask off during a breakup or a divorce, you are stepping directly into their line of fire. The moment a covert narcissist realizes they are losing the grip on you, they will drop the nice guy act and deploy every single manipulative trick in the book to utterly discredit you. They will lie under oath, hide assets, turn your own family members against you, and paint you as the villain to anyone who will listen. Let's be completely honest with ourselves here. For those of us who have codependent tendencies or are actively recovering from past trauma, holding our ground against fierce, relentless psychological warfare is simply not our strong suit. We are wired to explain ourselves, to seek closure, and to fix things. The narcissist knows this and will weaponize our own empathy against us to drag us back into the cycle. You cannot successfully fight a predator on their own turf. You protect yourself not by staying to fight a losing battle, but by slipping away quietly, firmly, and completely unannounced. Even when you execute a silent exit, you have to be prepared for the inevitable shift in the atmosphere. The very second you start pulling away, going cold, and cutting off their emotional supply, the covert narcissist's internal radar will go off. They possess an incredibly sensitive radar for abandonment and loss of control. They will notice that you aren't laughing at their jokes as loud, you aren't chasing their approval, and you are no longer sitting in the front row of their adoring audience. The moment they realize they are losing their power over you, an internal panic sets in. Because their fragile ego relies entirely on external validation to survive, your emotional detachment feels like an existential threat to them. But remember, because they are covert narcissists, they aren't going to react with an obvious, explosive burst of anger or scream at you directly. That would ruin their carefully crafted image of being the gentle, stable one in the relationship. Instead, they will launch a calculated campaign of passive-aggressive warfare designed to make you feel like you are the one losing your mind. They will start giving you the heavy, suffocating silent treatment, dropping backhanded compliments, and using subtle sighing or slamming doors to make you ask, "What's wrong?" When you call them out on it, they will smoothly play the ultimate victim, wrapping themselves in a blanket of fake sorrow. They are masters at weaponizing fancy vocabulary, pseudo-intellectual talk, or even therapy language to dissect your personality and prove that you are the toxic, abusive problem. They will calmly explain to you, and anyone else who will listen, that your boundaries are actually you being unstable or unsupportive. This is pure textbook projection. They will take all of their own malice, selfishness, and calculated cruelty, flip it upside down, and mirror it right back onto you to clear their own name. They will look like the long-suffering saint, and you will look like the unhinged villain, all while they smile and pretend they are just trying to help you heal. Let me save you years of exhaustion and heartbreak by sharing a massive mistake I have personally made more times than I care to admit. Trying to argue with a covert narcissist using logic, reason, and intellect. When you are a rational person, you naturally assume that if you just lay out the facts, present the text messages, or explain your feelings clearly enough, the other person will eventually have an epiphany and see the truth. But every single time you try this with a covert narcissist, it turns into an incredibly draining, never-ending uphill battle that will leave you completely depleted. They do not care about facts, they do not care about the truth, and they certainly do not care about your sanity. While you are busy exhausting yourself trying to have a mature conversation, they are operating behind the scenes, pouring an endless amount of time, emotional energy, and sometimes even cold, hard money into a smear campaign designed for the sole purpose of making you look like the bad guy. They will rewrite history, construct elaborate lies, and exhaust every single resource they have just to resurrect their public image and protect their precious reputation at your expense. Trying to win a debate, get closure, or score a point against a covert narcissist is exactly like trying to wrestle with a pig in the mud. After a few minutes of screaming and throwing dirt, you will suddenly look down and realize a painful truth. You are covered in filth. You have lost your dignity. You are completely exhausted. And worst of all, the pig is actually having a fantastic time. Narcissists absolutely love the chaos. They thrive in the mud because conflict keeps you emotionally hooked, constantly reacting to them and pouring your precious life force into their twisted games. It is time to radically accept that you will never get that apology. You will never get them to admit they wronged you, and you will never win a public shouting match. Cut your losses right now. Stop sending those massive multi-paragraph text messages trying to explain your perspective, and stop trying to defend your character on public forums or social media threads. Every text you send is just ammunition for them to screenshot and show the world how crazy you are. Drop the phone, step out of the arena, and just walk away. The only way to win a game with a professional cheater is to stop playing completely. Once you finally drop the rope and step out of the mud, your absolute number one goal in life shifts completely. Your only job right now is to fully disconnect from their toxic gravity well, protect your energy, and focus entirely on your own deep healing. The absolute best, most devastating revenge you can ever take on a covert narcissist isn't exposing them or making them suffer. It is becoming completely indifferent to their existence while building a beautiful, successful, and happy life without them. You need to turn all that incredible empathy, patience, and love that you wasted on trying to fix a broken predator and pour it right back into your own soul. Take the time to nurture yourself, rebuild your shattered confidence, and reconnect with the hobbies, passions, and dreams that you put on the back burner just to keep them happy. When you deeply heal the childhood wounds, low self-esteem, or codependent patterns that allowed that manipulator into your life in the first place, something truly magical happens to your social circle. Your entire frequency changes. You stop vibrating at a level that attracts parasites, and you naturally start attracting beautiful, authentic, what you see is what you get people. You will find yourself surrounded by healthy friends, partners, and colleagues who say what they mean what they say, and offer real, transparent empathy without any hidden agendas or shifting masks. And best of all, once you have successfully survived a covert narcissist, done the hard inner work, and truly learned their psychological playbook, you develop a permanent, bulletproof superpower. You will be able to spot a fake smile, a subtle guilt trip, or a hidden manipulator from a mile away, and you will confidently swat them out of your life before they can even blink.